If I said that Glasgow was a city of miracles, it might not surprise you. But if I told you that our biggest city was born in Lothian and established in the Scottish borders, that might raise an eyebrow. So if you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. The story of Glasgow goes back deep into time, to before Scotland. It emerges out of the Dark Ages, kingdoms of Reged, the Gododin. It even touches on Arthurian legend and the real Merlin. So inevitably, the story varies slightly in each telling. Pronunciation of names, exact locations, motivation for actions. It's a story where legend and history mix. And maybe that's the magic. So today, I'm going to tell you about the miracles that made Glasgow. It all started with a legendary king called Lot. It's from the name Lot that we get the lands on the other side of the Forth, Lothian. Lot had a daughter. Now, you can call her Tenu, or Thani, or Thenva. Okay, I don't know how they pronounced it, and the name doesn't really matter anyway. But every single person in Glasgow today will be very familiar with her by another name, although they probably don't realise it. That's for later in the video. Back in the 6th century, this princess was either raped by a neighbouring prince or fell in love with him when he was a married man. As a result, her father threw her from Tarapin Law, or from a cliff in the Forth, or set her adrift in a boat where she was rescued by fishermen, or drifted to this northern Pictish shore of the Forth. Details vary in the telling, but it all led to her finding refuge with a monk that we call St. Serf in a place that we call Couros. Today, it's famous for tourists visiting Outlander film locations, but it's far more significant for us Scots. These ruined walls are known as St. Mungo's Chapel. Legend has it that here St. Serf took in the young pregnant princess. He later took her son Kentigern under his wing, and it was Serf who gave Kentigern the pet name Mungo, which means dear one. As Mungo grew and received an education here, it was amongst other monks and young boys, but none were as godly and dedicated as he. The story goes that Serf had a pet robin, but the young apprentice monks had accidentally killed it and blamed it on Kentigern. Now, any normal young lad would have said, "It wasn't me," but not our Kentigern. He took the little robin redbreast in his hands and prayed over it, and it came back to life. Another time, young Kentigern had been given the job of looking after the holy fire in the monastery, but he fell asleep and the fire went out. Not wanting to be shamed, he broke off some frozen branches from a hazel tree and miraculously rekindled the fire. All this is said to have happened here, but eventually Kentigern, now affectionately known as Mungo, decided to travel further afield. Now, there's a story I'm sure that I've read, but for all I've searched in preparation for this video, I couldn't find it. I'll tell you the story, and you can tell me in the comment section if it sounds familiar or if I'm confusing it with somebody else. So Mungo decided to cross the Forth and minister over there. But as soon as he crossed, he came upon a dying man. The chap asked Mungo to promise that he'd give him a decent burial. And having agreed, the chap then added some conditions. The man wanted Mungo to put his body on a cart and push the cart until he was too exhausted to go further. When he couldn't take another step, then he should bury the man there. I bet he wished he'd walked by on the other side now. Mungo headed west, and he might have passed very near here. This is one of the best preserved sections of the turf ditch wall built by the Roman Emperor Antoninus Pius, who came after Hadrian. The reason I stopped here on my way west is to put Mungo's legend in a historical context. They tell us he was born around 518 AD and that his ministry started when he was 25. So this was happening around 150 years after the Romans had abandoned Britannia. It was a time when the Brythonic tribes from the Fourth Shores, where we've been, all the way north, had formed into Picts. Northwest in Argyll, the Gallic kingdom of Dalriada had formed. To the south, there were numerous petty kingdoms of Romanised Britons emerging under powerful warlords. And Mungo was heading west into the kingdom of the Britons of Alt-Clut, as the Angles and Saxons were pushing westwards across the discarded province of Britannia. Kingdoms were expanding, consolidating, competing, disintegrating and vying for power under various strongmen. Christianity was being spread by evangelists like St David in Wales, St Patrick in Ireland, St Columba, St Ninian, and Mungo was heading west, pushing his funeral barrow into the maelstrom. Mungo finally set down his cart near here by the Mullendiner burn. It was here that he buried his charge. It's where he, Glasgow's first bishop, would be buried and where now stands Glasgow's cathedral. This was where he built a church and began to minister, preaching the gospel to the Britons of Alt-Clut. Now, I said that this was a turbulent time, and I'm told that after 13 years he had to flee south from a local king who was averse to Christianity. He settled for a time in Wales. But remember, we think of a border across the country in modern terms. At that time, all the way down the west of this island, from here to Wales and even Cornwall, would have been Britons. A continuous language and culture with the Anglo-Saxons east of them. You can see place names and churches of Kentigern dotted like pebbles in a forest leading to a gingerbread house. When the Christian-friendly king of Ridderhale gained power and invited Mungo to return, he came back north and continued his ministry where he began. If you spoke the Brythonic language that became Welsh, the name Glasgow may seem to mean green hollow. These days, folks take the Gaelic of Dear Green Place. In what would then have been a green place, St Mungo prayed to let Glasgow flourish by the preaching of the word. But there was a bit of domestic trouble that suggested maybe the preaching of the word wasn't bringing quite the upright moral standards expected. There was a bit of tension between the king and the queen of Alt-Clut. It turns out that the queen had been a bit over-friendly with some chap whose name's lost to us now, unless you can tell me in the comments. The point is, she'd been suspected of a bit of how's your father rumpy-pumpy in amongst the tops, if you know what I mean. So the king said that he wanted to see a ring that he'd presented to her previously that he suspected she'd given to her lover. In fact, this was an impossible challenge because the king himself had thrown it in the River Clyde. What are we to do? He was demanding a ring that she knew she didn't have. And whether she was up to anything or not, she knew she hadn't given away the ring. And now she faced execution. Now, if this had been 17th century France, she would have gone to D'Artagnan and got him to ride across France, cross the English Channel, and have the Duke of Buckingham's jeweller make a new one as the three musketeers nursed their wounds on a remote hill. But this was the 6th century Alt-Clut, before Scotland ever existed. So she went to Mungo to ask for help. He ordered a messenger to go down to the Clyde and catch a fish. When the messenger came back, they opened the fish and the ring was inside, and the Queen was able to clear her name. Now, if you've been watching my videos, then you'll know that I'm taking an intimate group on an 11-day tour around Scotland in April. Now, whilst the majority of the places are taken, there's still room to squeeze in a couple more who want to come with me on a fabulous trip from the Isle of Skye to Hadrian's Wall with great hotels, full board, and a visit with Lord Bruce, the hugely entertaining descendant of our warrior King Robert. But long before him, today's hero Mungo is said to have visited the Pope. The Pope gave him a bell that was used for funeral rites. Now, I won't lie, the whole trip to Rome thing's a bit dubious. But what we do know is that 300 years after Mungo's death, the rock of Alt-Clut down the Clyde at Dumbarton would succumb to Vikings, and the capital of Strathclyde would move across the river to Govan. 300 years after that, in 1175, William the Lion of Scotland granted a charter. Be it known to those present and to come that I have granted, and by this charter confirmed, to God and St Kentigern and to Joseline, Bishop of Glasgow, and to each of his successors forever, to have a burgh at Glasgow with a market on Thursday. Woohoo! This charter establishing the burgh of Glasgow was signed at Traquair House in the Scottish borders. Glasgow adopted St Kentigern, St Mungo, as their saint. Now, I'm sure every Glasgow school child will learn the little rhyme that talks of the miracles of St Mungo. Here's the bird that never flew. Here's the tree that never grew. Here's the bell that never rang. And here's the fish that never swam. There are Glasgow street murals to represent his miracles. And the mother of Kentigern breastfeeding a refugee child. And etched out on the displays in the cathedral and in Glasgow's coat of arms, we see the wee robin brought back to life, the tree whose branch rekindled holy fire, the Pope's bell, and the fish who gave up the ring of Riddick Hale, King of Alt-Clut. And of course, Mungo's call to let Glasgow flourish. But Mungo hasn't always stood alone. Do you remember at the start, I said that his mother was known by another name? She was also venerated as a saint and jointly patron saint of Glasgow along with her son. But here she wasn't called Tenu, but Enoch. And that's why in the heart of the city there's a place that carries her name, St Enoch's Square. Every Glaswegian that passes by will know this square. But I wonder how many realise that the name is of a princess from Lothian. The story of Glasgow started with a princess in Lothian and was formalised by a charter in the borders. Modern marketing people tell us that people make Glasgow, and that's probably true. But let's not forget the miracles of St Mungo. Momentous events have happened in Glasgow's history in this very street. You know that I made a video that you should watch. It's coming up on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha mi an dulchas go be a lamb alive. Sherry and Draston.